do you have the most interesting reactions from fans? Because I got to imagine you've got a couple of stories of people just having either fantastic reactions or just going off about a storyline in The Handmaid's Tale.
They've kind of been across the board. I mean, the earliest ones in the earliest part of this, you know, in the early seasons, especially, I just remember episodes in the airport, one of which was a woman coming up to me and saying, I know you. And I see where it's going, because she doesn't realize that it's Lydia, you know. You know how we do that? We watch something on television and somehow we feel like they've been in our home. So we know them on some kind of strange level. That certainly happened to me. So I could see where it was going to go. But so I said, she said, where do you live? And I said, well, I live in New York. And we were going down the escalator, mind you. And then she looked at me and she said, oh, you're her. And she literally, she turned around and she didn't run down the escalator, but she moved down that escalator and then she took off. And I literally laughed out loud. It was one of the funniest responses I have ever seen, of like straight out almost fear. I mean, I don't, you know. And then other people, you know, it's Queen of Mean or whatever people say, you know. But fans are so lovely. They're just great, and it's always wonderful to speak to somebody who cares about the show, you know, or has an opinion they want to share. It's nice.
Well, it's speaking of opinions, I have one that often gets me a lot of side eye from other fans, because not only am I a critic reviewer, I am a fan. I've been there since the beginning. I love the show. I don't think you're a villain per se. I just think you're misguided on the show. I think you've gone in this direction because you believe that's the righteous path, and I think a reckoning is coming. I think she's going to see the error of her ways eventually. Do you see her as a villain when you're approaching?
No, not at all. I mean, you know, just the approach of an actor would be remove all judgment, because you want to get to know the person, right? You want to represent, take the life of, be in the life of a person that's complex, and you know, so judgment. I don't see her as a villain, and also I think what you said is right. And also to add to that, something very important, which is survival. You know, when they took Gilead over, no one said, you know, do you want to go back to your job? Because I bet you liked it. No, it's either do this, like this, or die. That's your option. And they're not, I mean, the death's right in front of her. People who thought you could say no, can't. She caught on quickly, because that's the kind of gal she is. She was going to make sure that if she was going to be in this, she was going to be at the top of it, as far as women can go, let's put it that way. So she's got a lot of things happening. And then just knowing that particular way of thinking is the way to go. And if you girls want to live, let's get real here. You can look at yourselves as being prisoners, or you can realize your life was going nowhere. With your casual pregnancy, abortion, marriage, nah, I don't think so. No, gutter, stop your nonsense. You've been pulled from what was a wasted life, and now you have the opportunity, not the option, the opposite, to make your life good again. I do think you're right. She embraces that very righteous perspective, and righteousness tends to narrow the world when it's that kind of blind, I will. And again, hers is complicated by, as I said, survival. But I do think a reckoning is coming. I mean, she sees everything. She knows the commanders are all full of nonsense, that they don't hold themselves to the standard they insist everyone else holds themselves to. No, they wouldn't dream of it. It's not comfortable. I want to have, go ahead, please.
Now, the toughest part of this, in the act of full disclosure, I've seen the new season.
Oh, good.
And I literally can't talk about everything I've seen, but the only way I can think of going around that is just asking you this. In one word, how would you describe to the fans the new season?
Astonishing.
I couldn't agree more. Astonishing. The character arcs in this season are um, remarkable, to say the least. And as an actor, I have to ask you, is it just a joy to come to work when you get this type of writing to work with?
A joy, a privilege, an honor, and the list goes on.
I mean,
Yes.
I mean, there are just so many depths you can go with your character, the cast, the ensemble. Um, I mean, it's just a feat to behold. Now, I did something as a treat to the fans. I reached out via social media, okay, and I said I would be speaking to the Ann Dowd, and I said I will take one question that I felt was worthy and could be asked in this setting, and I have it right now. Do you mind if I read it off of Twitter real
I'd
quick?
be absolutely happy to hear it. Thank
All
you.
right. The question is, what is this is from at Miss Gons 2003. Her name is Tara. She asks, hold on here. She asks, what is the toughest part of preparing each day to shoot as Aunt Lydia? What is the toughest part as an actor? I guess she's getting at the fact that you have to kind of dig deep into a place that
Yes.
you obviously aren't. So
Yes, that's a very good question. There's a lot of strength that comes from knowing her now. This is the 4th season. So and it's always daunting. It's a really good question to square off on a day, because you've got to step in knowing you're going to ask a lot of yourself as an actor. I don't mean it's about suffering, because it isn't, but realizing the world you're stepping into here, there's nothing casual going on. The stakes are tremendously high and should be. So I would say that one of the more challenging parts is, particularly if you wake up and you're kind of tired, you haven't particularly slept, is to just say your prayers, however one does such a thing, to ask for the strength and the openness you need to step into this life today, and to ask for the energy you will need to commit. And once you're there, once you're in that place, I suppose it's true for every one of us, isn't it? Your job there's nothing easy about your job or Tara's job. But once you step in and you let the resistance drop, the fear, just say, hey, I know her. She's all right. She'll be all right. She'll be there with you, not alone. Just to say yes to it. That would be the challenge. And then to support that position, however one does. There's a lot of laughing that goes on our set. A lot of
really.
Oh yes, tremendous amount, and we love one another. It's a very, very loving set. Crew is magnificent. Everybody, hair, makeup, everybody, costumes. They just couldn't be lovelier. The actors just knock me out, every single one of them, and so there's that sense of ease and trust and friendship. And also when we need to take our minutes in preparation before a scene, we do. And there's tremendous comfort in it. So it's a very, very wonderful place to work. Very grateful.
By the way, these answers have been amazing. I really do appreciate your time. And this is the last one, and because I know we got to let you go to the next person.
Thank you. Lovely to talk with you.
When you have a particularly tough scene, and I can reference, I don't know, half a dozen without even really trying, in any number of seasons, with Elizabeth's character or another character, do you as an actor purposely avoid her or avoid that person because that's coming, or are you able to just switch into that moment?
Well, the thing that one has to accept too about television, and this has become easier over time. The fear that would grip, I'm speaking only for myself. I imagine, every actor has their way in, of course. But this scene has not been rehearsed when we arrive. So the day will involve first the reading of the scene, making sure we all understand what we're talking about. It's a process, and trusting the process instead of rushing to, okay, end product. Can't. You have to imagine that this half an hour of rehearsal, or however long it does take, is a full day. No rush. no panic. We'll get there one step at a time. Very, very important. So there's immediate communication between actors and with Elizabeth, immediate. We speak very easily with one another. We see eye to eye. We trust each other. We love each other. We understand the complexity of their relationship. So there's lots of conversation. Now, when it's time to shoot, you take the time you need in the confines of the day. There's a lot to accomplish in a day. You take the time you need to prepare and to take the breath that will take you into the room and begin to shoot the scene. But there's not any isolation per se. I don't find that useful unless I have my few minutes before, or if that answers your question.